Have you ever opened an email, maybe a text from someone you don't know, promising you this like massive windfall?
Hmm.
Maybe a lost inheritance, a lottery prize you definitely didn't enter, or a job that just seems way, way too good to be true.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Mm.
If you've seen that, you've probably encountered something, well, much more sneaky and widespread than just regular spam.
Right.
What a lot of people just brush off as junk mail is often a really specific, very persistent kind of fraud.
Okay.
And today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. Advance fee scams. Now, the whole Nigerian prince thing probably comes to mind straight away, right?
For sure.
But this kind of scam actually goes back centuries, and it's constantly evolving, getting more sophisticated, and unfortunately affecting loads of people all over the world.
And that's really our mission for you today. We want to unpack how these scams work piece by piece. We'll look at the psychology involved, which is pretty surprising, understand the consequences, which can be devastating, and most importantly, give you some solid ways to spot and avoid them.
Exactly. It's about getting you up to speed quickly but properly, so you don't just dodge these things,
Yeah.
but you actually get why they work, how that deception operates.
So, where do we start? How do we even define something this common?
Okay, so at its heart, an advance fee scam is basically fraud, where the scammer asks the victim for money up front.
Right.
They frame it as a necessary payment, like a small fee you need to pay to get something much bigger later on.
Yeah.
Could be a loan, a contract, an investment, even a gift.
But the big prize never shows up.
Pretty much never. The victim pays the fee, or sometimes multiple fees, and gets little or absolutely nothing back.
So it's like paying to get paid, but the payment never arrives. How do they usually kick things off? Is it always that random email?
Almost always starts with unsolicited contact. Email's huge. Yeah. You see subject lines like, from the desk of barrister so-and-so, or urgent assistance required. But it's not just email anymore.
Yeah.
It can be DMs on social media, instant messages, even dating apps, often from fake profiles, obviously. Their first goal is just to grab your attention with some kind of amazing offer.
And what kind of offer are we talking about? What's the typical bait?
Usually a really large sum of money.
Right.
The story might be about unclaimed funds, maybe hidden gold, a super profitable business deal.
Right.
And the scammer always has a reason why they can't access it directly, like maybe some legal issue, or it's stuck in bureaucratic limbo. And that's why they need your help.
Okay, so they get you interested, maybe build a little rapport, and
Right.
then comes the catch, the hurdle. It's
Yeah.
always about money, isn't it?
Always. That's the advance fee.
Huh.
It might be presented as, say, a loan needed to bribe an official, or maybe you need to show you have significant funds yourself to be part of the deal, like that Nigerian bank example.
Yeah.
But that hurdle, that is the theft. It's not a real fee.
Yeah.
The victim is tricked into willingly sending money, usually through ways they can't get it back, like a wire transfer.
And the scammer just takes it.
Pockets it. Gone. It's theft disguised as a process step.
We all know the Nigerian prince one, the 419 scam, named after their criminal code section. But what other flavors does this come in?
Oh, plenty. There's the old Spanish prisoner scam. It's one of the originals. The black money scam. But the modern ones keep popping up.
What?
Like those work-from-home schemes. Some are really nasty, like the mystery chopper one. They tell you to evaluate Western Union or MoneyGram.
Okay.
They send you a check, a fake or stolen one. You deposit it. The bank might make the funds available before the check actually bounces. Then they tell you to wire your real money somewhere as part of the evaluation.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Then the original check bounces, and you're out the money you wired, plus probably bank fees. It's horrible.
It's awful, especially preying on job seekers. And it highlights why they're so picky about payment methods, right? Wire transfers, prepaid cards, crypto, gift cards. Why those specifically?
Because they're fast, irreversible, and hard to trace. Simple as that. Sometimes they might ask for bank account details, but that's often not for withdrawing money directly that's too traceable.
So why ask for it?
It can be a test, a gullibility test. If you hand over those details, it signals you're likely to fall for the main scam. Plus, they can sell that info to other criminals. The real aim is to get you to send the money yourself using those untraceable methods.
Wow. And thinking about how long this has been going on, it's not just an internet problem, is it?
Not even close. Advance fee fraud goes way back, well over 100 years before the internet. Think about the 19th century Spanish prisoner scam.
You mentioned that one. How did it work?
A con artist would contact someone claiming to represent a rich person stuck in a Spanish jail. They needed money, for bribes or legal fees to get them out,
And the victim pays.
in exchange for a promise of a huge reward, a share of the prisoner's fortune, once they were free. Of course, there was no prisoner, no fortune. But it worked by playing on sympathy and that dream of easy money. Same drivers as today, really.
So it just adapted. From letters in the mail back in the 80s, which is when the whole Nigerian 419 thing really took off.
Exactly. Then came email. As the internet grew,
And now,
now it's adapting even faster. Scammers are using AI, deepfakes, to make their stories, their fake documents, even their voices seem more real.
seriously, deep fakes.
Oh, yeah. It makes it much harder to spot the fake.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere. Social media, messaging apps, dating sites, you name it. The reason it persists is it costs them almost nothing to send out millions of messages. They only need a tiny, tiny number of people to respond to make a huge profit. It's a numbers game.
Okay, so we know they're old, they're evolving. Let's break down the process. What's the step-by-step? How does someone go from getting that first message to actually losing money?
Well, it usually starts with that unsolicited contact we talked about. Email, social media, whatever. They often try to make it look official. Fake letterheads, maybe government seals, logos stolen from real companies. They'll pretend to be officials, lawyers, bankers, even royalty. The message is designed to sound credible, urgent, often mentioning some secret deal or unexpected money just for you.
And then comes the hook, right, to really pull you in.
Exactly, the hook. That's the irresistible offer. Winning a lottery you never played, a massive inheritance from a relative you never knew, a fantastic remote job, a guaranteed loan, even if your credit's bad. These offers are designed to hit you emotionally, spark hope, excitement, maybe relief if you're struggling financially. That makes the too good to be true part easier to overlook.
And they don't just rely on the story, they try to build credibility. How do they do that?
They go to pretty great lengths. They'll send fake documents, contracts, bank statements, ID cards. They might set up fake websites or social media profiles that look like real companies.
Right.
They might even conduct fake online interviews for job scams. They'll use real company names or logos to seem legit. And here's a clever bit. Sometimes they ask you to use fax or courier mail.
Fax? Really? What?
It seems old-fashioned, but it avoids creating a digital trail. Makes it harder for police to track the communication compared to email.
That's sneaky. Okay, so they've built trust, they've got you hooked. Then comes the moment they ask for money, the actual advance fee. What excuses do they use?
Oh, all sorts. Could be processing fees, taxes, legal fees, notary charges, insurance bonds. If it's a job scam, maybe visa fees or travel costs.
And the amount.
Usually pitched to sound reasonable in the context of the huge payout you're expecting. Maybe a few $100s, maybe a few thousand. Enough to hurt, but potentially small enough that you think it's worth the risk for the big reward. And they always promise you'll get that fee back later.
But it's rarely just one payment, is it? That's where it gets really dangerous.
Almost never. Once you've paid the first fee, suddenly there's another problem. A new, unexpected cost. More taxes. Another official needs a bribe. Some verification fee. And it becomes a cycle. It can drag on for months, even years. Victims keep paying more, hoping to finally get the promised money and recover what they've already lost. It's that sunk cost fallacy kicking in hard.
You feel like you're in too deep to stop.
Exactly. And in the worst cases, they might even lure the victim to travel overseas, supposedly to finalize the deal, where they can face more scams, threats, or even physical danger.
That's terrifying. And how does it usually end?
Typically, the scammer just disappears, cuts off all contact, takes the money, and runs. Or, if the victim starts refusing to pay more, they might turn nasty, use threats or intimidation.
And the risk doesn't stop there.
No.
Wow.
If you've given them personal info, you're at risk of identity theft. And then there were the recovery scams. New scammers contact you, claiming they can get your lost money back.
For another fee, I bet.
You got it. Just another way to squeeze more money out of someone already devastated.
It's incredibly calculated, and so much of it hinges on psychology. How do they manage to manipulate people so effectively?
Well, there are a few key tactics. First, they tap right into greed and our natural optimism bias. Offering huge rewards for little effort plays on the hope that maybe, just maybe, this time it's real. We tend to think bad things won't happen to us.
Right, that it won't happen to me feeling.
Exactly. Then there's the urgency and scarcity. They always create pressure. This offer expires soon. The funds will be seized. This stops you from thinking clearly, researching, or asking for advice. It pushes you towards an impulsive yes.
And pretending to be authority figures helps too, I imagine.
Absolutely. Posing as officials, bankers, lawyers, using fancy titles, jargon, fake documents, maybe even deep fake audio clips. Now it leverages our built-in trust for authority and institutions.
That's clever.
Then you have emotional manipulation. especially in romance scams or fake charities. They build a connection, share sob stories, pretend to have feelings, or appeal to your desire to help someone. It hijacks your empathy.
And you mentioned reciprocity and commitment before.
Yeah. They might do small favors or act incredibly grateful early on to make you feel obligated. And once you've made that first payment, psychology kicks in. You want to be consistent. You want to justify that initial decision, so you're more likely to pay again. That's the sunk cost trap.
And the errors, the bad grammar in some emails. You said that's deliberate.
Often, yes. It sounds counterintuitive, but think of it as a filter. If someone ignores obvious red flags like terrible spelling or a totally unbelievable story and replies anyway, well, that person is unfortunately more likely to be trusting or less critical, and thus a better target for the rest of the scam.
That is genuinely chilling. It weaponizes incompetence. So apart from the scammer's tricks, what makes some people more vulnerable than others?
Several factors can play a role. Some research points to lower self-control, being drawn to immediate rewards without weighing the risks. Loneliness is a big one.
How so?
People who are isolated, maybe older adults, are often more receptive to someone reaching out, even a stranger. The scammer provides attention, a connection, filling an emotional gap, which makes the manipulation easier.
And financial problems.
Definitely. If you're desperate, an offer of easy money, no matter how unrealistic, can feel like a lifeline. You're more inclined to believe it could be true.
That makes sense.
Also, trust levels can vary. Older generations were often raised to be more trusting, and they might also be hesitant to report being scammed out of pride or fear of judgment. And then there are just general cognitive biases we all have, like judging how likely something is based on how easily examples come to mind.
The fallout from these scams,
Yeah.
it's got to be more than just the money lost, right? What are the wider consequences?
Oh, absolutely. The financial side can be life-altering. People lose their entire savings, go deep into debt, even face bankruptcy. We're talking huge numbers in the U.S., over $500 million lost just between 2020 and 2024. And the average loss per person shot up from around $6,000 to $14,000 in that time.
Wow, $14,000 average loss. That's staggering. And the emotional impact.
Devastating. Intense shame, guilt, feeling betrayed. It leads to severe anxiety, depression. Tragically, there have been documented cases, like in the UK and China, of people taking their own lives after falling victim to lottery scams.
That's heartbreaking.
It really is, and it ripples outwards. Relationships with family and friends can break down. Loved ones might blame the victim, or maybe they lost money too. The victim often struggles with feeling stupid or foolish, which craters their self-esteem.
You mentioned different variants. Which one tends to cause the most damage overall?
Interestingly, and sadly, dating scams often end up being the costliest per victim,
Why is that?
because they involve such deep emotional investment over a long period. The scammer builds what feels like a real relationship. It makes it incredibly hard for the victim to see the red flags or accept they're being deceived. That emotional connection leads to much larger financial losses over time.
Okay, this is all quite heavy. Let's pivot to protection. How do we actually spot these things? What are the absolute must-know red flags?
Number one, if it sounds too good to be true, it almost certainly is. Huge returns for zero effort. Big red flag.
Got it.
Number two, unsolicited contact. If someone you don't know messages you with an amazing offer out of the blue, be immediately suspicious.
And the big one, asking for money up front.
The absolute key. Any request for payment before you get the promised goods, services, loan, prize, that's the classic sign. Especially if they demand payment using things like gift cards, crypto, wire transfers, or P2P apps like Zelle or Venmo. Those are hard to trace and almost impossible to get back.
What else?
Look for a lack of verifiable details. No real file address, generic email addresses, company names that sound almost like real ones. Be careful. Also, high-pressure tactics. You must act now, W. They don't want you to think or check.
And the quality of the message itself.
Yeah, poor grammar, spelling mistakes, weird formatting, links that look dodgy, and any requests for sensitive info like your social security number, online banking logins, or asking for remote access to your computer. Huge red flags. Just say no.
Okay, so knowing the red flags is step one. How do we actively prevent becoming a victim? What are the best shields?
First, stay informed. Know the kinds of scams circulating. Second, always do your research. Verify any offer or company through independent, trusted sources. Check with the Better Business Bureau, financial regulators like the SEC, or FI&R if it's an investment. Look for independent reviews.
And the golden rule.
Never pay upfront fees for a promised windfall, loan, or job. Legitimate organizations just don't operate that way.
What about payment methods?
Use secure ones. Credit cards offer far more protection than debit cards or wire transfers. Escrow services can be good for large transactions. Basically, avoid sending money via irreversible methods to anyone you don't know and trust implicitly.
Treat unsolicited offers with extreme skepticism.
Absolutely. Do a quick web search for the sender's name or the company plus the word scam. You'd be surprised what pops up. And guard your personal information fiercely. Don't overshare online and use strong, unique passwords plus two-factor authentication wherever possible.
Is technology helping in this fight?
Yes, definitely. AI is getting pretty good at fraud detection. Systems analyze transaction patterns for anomalies, use language processing to spot scammy wording in messages, even analyze typing speed or mouse movements, behavioral biometrics to see if it's really you or a scammer.
So tools exist.
Yeah, things like Bitdefender Scamio let you check suspicious messages. Banks use sophisticated filters and monitoring systems like NetGuardians. But honestly, public awareness and education are just as vital. Knowing the tactics is half the battle.
What if the worst happens? You realize you're being targeted, or maybe you've already sent money. What should you do immediately?
Okay, first thing. Stop all contact with the scammer immediately. Don't reply, don't argue, just cut it off.
Yeah.
Contact your bank or credit card company right away. Report the fraud, explain what happened, ask if they can reverse the charges or freeze the funds. Time is critical here.
And report it officially.
Yes. File a report with the authorities. In the U.S., that's the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, online at reportfraud.ftc.gov, and the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3.gov. In the UK, it's Action Fraud. Also reported to your local police.
What about the platform where it happened?
Definitely report it there too. The social media site, the dating app, the job board, the email provider, they have abuse departments that need to know. Then monitor your accounts like a hawk, change all your passwords, make sure 2FA is on.
And maybe get some advice.
Very important. Talk to a financial advisor, maybe a lawyer, or a consumer protection agency. Getting money back is tough, really tough, but reporting quickly gives you the best chance. Helps the authorities build cases, and protects others.
This has been incredibly insightful. We've really covered the long history, the evolving tactics, the psychology, the devastating impact, and crucially, how to defend ourselves against these advance fee scams.
Yeah, the core message is that understanding how they work, both mechanically and psychologically, is so important. Vigilance and skepticism are your best tools.
Absolutely. The way these scams keep adapting, especially with new tech, means we all need to stay alert.
For sure. Leveraging those detection tools and just staying educated is key.
So here's something to think about. As technology like AI and deepfakes makes scams potentially even more convincing, what does the continued success of these scams, which really rely on manipulating basic human emotions and biases, tell us about ourselves, about our own vulnerabilities? And maybe more broadly, how can understanding this help us be more critical and informed, not just about money scams, but about all the information we encounter every day?